So several interesting juxtapositions, right? The growth in a single week in meat birds, now they're too far apart. I don't think I can get you in the same screen. But the growth in meat birds in just a single week, you can see that from the left side of the screen to the right side of the screen with 4-week-old birds on the left and 5-week-old birds here on the right. And so we've got 2 more weeks of production with these meat birds before their processing appointment on April 23rd. So these birds are actually aged for that processing appointment. They'll be 6 weeks old when we take them to processing. We're talking about just the white feathered birds going to processing. They'll be 6 weeks old when we take them to the butcher, and that's exactly what we want. It just so happens these birds will be 7 weeks old, so they'll be a little older and a little bigger than our target goal with them, but it's just the way it worked out. It's just the way it worked out this time. So these birds will be about perfect as far as our goals, size-wise and age-wise, when we go to the processor with them. So that was one interesting juxtaposition, just the amount of growth in a single week, from the birds on the left side of the yellow crates to the birds on the right side of the yellow crates, a single week. Now, interesting that here you have actually the same age juxtaposition in the egg production birds and the meat production birds. There's a week difference in age. Oh, we can zoom in there. There's a week difference in age. The egg birds, so the 2 dark feathered ones on the left, they're older. They're older than the Cornish rock crocs in this pen. So like these 2 birds on the left are 5 weeks old today, just right at 5 weeks old. The birds on the right are 4 weeks old. But the 4-week-old meat birds are way bigger, way more filled out than the egg birds that are a week older than them. Isn't that interesting? And that is interesting. So all these egg production birds that are mixed in here, we don't normally do that either, but they will stay on farm. They'll go into our egg production. Now this is cool too. There's a chocolate Orpington, we think is a rooster. We expected all of our little ones like that to be pullets this year, but anybody who's ordered baby chicks before or bought baby chicks knows that quite frequently in the ones that you request as females, you're going to end up with some roosters potentially. But we think this one is a rooster because of some of the physical development expressing and because of some of the behavioral development expressing. So both of those dark feathered birds right there are chocolate Orpingtons that are the same age, 5 weeks of age. The one closer to us has more red and more prominence in the comb and wattles on the top of the head and beside the beak developing. So that's one indicator that says to us, hey, this bird is probably not a female, it's probably a male. The other thing is its behavior. It has a tendency to posture at other birds and sort of size them up and try to initiate a little bit of a spat. So that's more typical to males than females in chickens. In our meat birds, we request straight run, which means we're going to get males and females. We're going to take them as hatched. Okay? So I would have a tendency to think like this one I'm looking at is probably a male. And I would have a tendency to think that like that trio sitting there is probably females. We've never tried to document like the prevalence of males versus females in our flocks. It would be interesting to document, but it's not one of those things that I've taken the time to make data sheets on. There's a lavender Orpington. So another interesting juxtaposition that I wanted to mention is just behavior-wise. What you see with the meat birds is pretty much what they want to do. They want to go get a bite to eat. Then they want to get a drink of water. While they're up, they're going to manure. And then they're going to find a place to rest. That's what they do because they're growing. Now, they're also sort of grounded in terms of they fill out quickly in the chicken breast, in the drumsticks, and the thighs. So they're probably going to stay on the ground. Very seldom do we have meat birds want to go up on the crates. On the other hand, like our egg production birds, they become upwardly mobile very early on. In our meat birds, we really don't see that behavior express. So these egg birds that are in here, they can pretty much go anywhere they want to go. They could go between the two pens if they want to. There's another great look at the size difference. The bird on the left is a week older than the bird on the right.